What if the greatest danger to a child is not poverty, but a parent who is too busy to notice them? What if giving a child food, clothes, and school fees is still not enough to serve them? This is the story of a teenage girl who lived in a beautiful house but grew up completely alone. A story of a mother who thought money was love until life taught her a painful lesson. This is not just a story, it is a warning, it is a mirror, it is a message for every parent and every child. Welcome to All Beauty African Folktales channel. Here we tell you the way it is. Have you subscribed? If not, oh yeah, run kitty kitty, run kata kata. Subscribe, like, comment and share. Share it with your family and friends. And don't forget to touch the bell button so that you'll be notified each time we put out new video. Oh yeah, grab your popcorn, sit jeje and enjoy yourself. Oh yeah, let's go there. In a quiet but fast-growing town of Awka, Anambra State, lived a woman many people admired and secretly envied. Her name was Mrs. Ifnanya Okorie. She was rich, elegant, beautiful, always well-dressed, and highly respected in her workplace. As a senior manager in a multinational oil servicing company in Onitsha, she left home before sunrise and returned long after the street lights had taken over the night. To outsiders, Madam Ifnanya was a strong, successful single mother who had conquered life despite its cruelty. But inside her large duplex at Ngozika Estate, there was a silence so loud it could break a soul. That silence belonged to her only child, Chidera Okorie. Chidera was 15 years old, beautiful in a quiet, almost invisible way. She had soft brown skin, expressive eyes that always looked like they were searching for something, and a gentle voice that was rarely heard. Her classmates described her as the quiet girl, the one who always came late, always sat alone, and never talked unless spoken to. If Nanya believed she was a good mother, after all, she had enrolled Chidera in Queen's Crown Secondary School, one of the most expensive private schools in Awka. The kitchen was always stocked with bags of rice, cartons of noodles, frozen chicken, and assorted food items. There was electricity, running water, and a big television in the sitting room. In Madam Ifnanya's mind, that was love. What she didn't see, or perhaps chose not to see, was the loneliness slowly eating her daughter alive. Every morning, by 5 a.m., Madam Ifnanya was already dressed for work. Her heels echoed through the house as she moved quickly, phone pressed to her ear, barking instructions to colleagues. Chidera, wake up, I'm leaving, oh, she would shout from the staircase. Sometimes Chidera would rush out of her room, eyes still heavy with sleep. Mommy, please, can you wait for me? I want to tell you something. Oh, mommy, please, please. There is no time. If Nanya will snap, I'm already late. Can't you see that? Make sure you prepare yourself and don't waste my money in that school, okay? And just like that, the door would slam shut. Chidera learned early how to take care of herself. She cooked alone. She ate alone. She washed plates alone. She did her homework alone. She stayed alone in that big house until sometimes 11 p.m. or midnight, listening to every sound, jumping at every knock, praying silently that her mother will come home safely. When Madame Nanya finally returned, tired and irritated, she never asked how Chidera's day went. Instead, she inspected. Why is this soup watery? Why didn't you wash this pot properly? Is this how you want to disgrace me? Sometimes, for mistakes that were barely mistakes, she flogged Chidera mercilessly. Pain will make you responsible, okay? She always said. There were days Chidera didn't finish preparing before her mother was ready to leave in the morning. On such days, Madam Ifnanya wouldn't drop her at school and she would say, "You are too slow, trek, trek." She would shout, throwing the car into reverse. Soon, trekking became normal. No transport money, no explanation, just silence. As months passed, if Nanya stopped dropping her entirely, Chidera trekked every day, arriving late, sweaty, and exhausted. Teachers scolded her, students whispered about her. Still, she said nothing because whenever she tried to talk about school, about her fears, about the changes she felt in her body as a growing teenager, her mother shut her down. "Stop disturbing me. Can't you see I'm tired? You complain too much." Until the day everything began to change. That morning, Chidera woke up with a strange pain twisting her stomach. It felt different, deep, sharp, frightening. As she stood up from the bed, she felt something warm. Confused, she checked her nightwear. Blood. Her heart raced. She panicked, thinking she was dying. "Mommy!" she cried, running to Ifnanya's room. "Please, something is happening to me, Mommy, please." Ifnanya barely looked up from her phone. "Not now, Chidera, please, not now. I have an early meeting. Please." "But mommy, I don't know what is wrong with me. Oh. If you are sick, go to school. The nurse is there. I don't have time for this drama now, okay?" The door slammed. Alone again. Chidera wrapped tissue paper around herself and wore her school uniform with trembling hands. By the time she got to school, the pain had worsened. As she stood up in class, the nightmare happened. Her uniform was stained. The class burst into laughter. She froze, tears filling her eyes. That was when three girls stood up. They were the girls everyone knew: Zainab, Khadijat, and Nkiru, the notorious trio of Queen's Crown Secondary School. They wore expensive shoes, carried flashy phones, and always talked about parties, hotels, and rich men who spoiled them. Instead of laughing, they surrounded Chidera and they said, "Come," Nkiru said softly, removing her cardigan and tying it around Chidera's waist. Zainab held her hand. "Don't cry, we will help you, okay?" They took her to the restroom. They explained everything, what it meant, what to do, what not to do. They cleaned her up and stayed with her until the pain eased. For the first time in her life, Chidera felt seen. From that day, she wasn't alone anymore. They became her friends. They invited her to sit with them. They shared food with her. They listened to her. Slowly, they began taking her out. Small gatherings at first, then parties. Chidera didn't know it yet, but the love she found was about to lead her into a world her mother never warned her about. At first, the outings felt harmless. After school, Zainab would pull out her slick phone and smile and said, "There is a small get together in Aroma Junction, nothing serious, sha." Chidera always hesitated and she said, "My mom will come back late. I'm not supposed to." Nkiru would laugh softly and said, "You're always alone anyway. At least come and breathe." And so Chidera followed. They rode in taxis she had never entered before, ate food she had only seen on Instagram, and laughed louder than she ever had in her quiet house. For the first time, someone noticed when she was missing, when she was quiet, when she looked sad. That attention filled a hole she didn't know how to name. At home, nothing changed. If Naya didn't notice the new smile on her daughter's face or the slight shift in her confidence, she still came back late, still complained, still scolded. One night, as Chidera carefully tried to tell her about her day, if Nanya cut her off and said, "Can you imagine the stress I went through today?" She snapped. "And this house is smelling of onions. You didn't open the windows." Chidera swallowed her words. She learned something important that night. If her mother wouldn't listen, someone else would. Soon, the outings became frequent. Birthdays in hotels in Onitsha, hangouts in lounges along Enugu Road, weekends that stretched into late evenings. Zainab and Khadijat always seems to have money, new wigs, new bags, new stories. "Don't you people worry about your parents?" Chidera once asked. Khadijat smirked and said, "Parents? Please, life is short, oh." They bought Chidera clothes, shoes, a small phone. "No strings attached," Nkiru said. But strings were already forming. One Friday evening, Zainab announced excitedly and said, "There is a big party in Asaba, real big boys. Chidera, you are coming, Abi?" Chidera's heart raced. "Asaba? That's far." "You trust us, don't you?" Zainab replied, her eyes steady. At home, if Nanya was already gone, no call, no message, Chidera stood in her room, staring at herself in the mirror, wearing a dress she didn't buy. For a brief second, fear whispered, but loneliness shouted louder. She stepped out. The music was loud. The lights were blinding. Men laughed too freely. Drinks followed. "This is too much," Chidera whispered to Nkiru. "Relax," Nkiru said, though her eyes avoided Chidera's. "Just sit." A man sat beside her, well dressed, smiling. "Don't be scared," he said. "You are safe, my dear." Chidera tried to stand. That was when she realized something was wrong. Her legs felt heavy. Her head spun. The room tilted. The last thing she saw was Zainab turning away, and the music kept playing. While Chidera's life quietly drifted, of course, someone else was watching. Her name was Mrs. Oluchi Nwankwo, a widowed trader who sold fabrics at Ekeoka markets. Life had dealt with Oluchi in a hard hand, but it had also sharpened her eyes. She lived 2 houses away from the Okorie duplex and shared the same early mornings and late nights of the streets. Oluchi had a daughter, Ifeoma, who attended Queen's Crown Secondary School with Chidera. It was Ifeoma who first noticed the changes. "Mommy," she said one evening while helping to sort fabrics, "that girl Chidera hardly comes home early again. She's always quiet in class, but now she looks tired and scared." Oluchi frowned. "Is she keeping bad friends?" she asked. Ifeoma nodded slowly and said, "Those girls everyone fears. They move with men. They give her things." From that day, Oluchi began to pay attention. She noticed Chidera sneaking out late, the unfamiliar cars, the way the girl avoided eye contact, the expensive slippers on a child who used to trek to school. Her spirit became restless. One Saturday afternoon, Oluchi walked into the Okorie compound. Madam Ifnanya's car was parked, rear lock. She knocked. When Madam Ifnanya opened the door, irritation was already written on her face, and she said, "Yes, what is it?" Oluchi forced a polite smile. "Good afternoon, madam. I'm your neighbor, Oluchi. Our daughters attend the same school." Ifnanya sighed and said, "Please be fast, I'm busy." Oluchi took a breath and said, "It's about Chidera, your daughter. I've been noticing. Are you now monitoring my daughter?" If Nanya snapped. "No, no, no," Oluchi said quickly. "I'm only concerned. She comes home very late sometimes. She moves with some girls who, if Nanya's eyes hardened. "Madam, mind your business," she said coldly. "My daughter is fine. I sent her to the best school and provide everything she needs. I don't need lesson on parenting, okay? Please don't come here to teach me how to take care of my daughter." But Oluchi tried again and said, "Please, as a mother, if you don't leave my house now," if Nanya warned, "I will embarrass you in a way you have never experienced before." The door slammed. Oluchi stood there for a long moment, her heart heavy. That night, she prayed because she knew some warnings, when ignored, return as storms. 2 nights after the Asaba party, Chidera did not come home. Midnight passed, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., if Nanya was still at work, attending a late dinner meeting. When she finally drove into the compound, close to 3 a.m., she noticed the silence for the first time. Chidera's bed was untouched. Her school bag lay where it always did. No note, no message. Panic set in, and she shouted and fell on the floor. For the first time in 15 years, fear pierced through pride. Oluchi, who had been observing quietly from her house, rushed over and said, "Madam, what happened?" "My daughter is missing. No, I cannot find my daughter. My daughter is missing," she said. Then the truth began to unravel. The hotel, the parties, the men. Madam Ifnanya was broken and ashamed. Then, immediately, they contacted the police. A search began that covered the town from Ngozika Estate to Oka Main Market and surrounding streets. Riders and neighbors were called. Flyers were printed. Security guards were questioned. Everyone searched. After 10 hours, a breakthrough came. A young hotel cleaner named Mama Tenu reported finding a frightened girl left alone behind a hotel in Asaba. She had taken Chidera in, cared for her, and hidden her from strangers until the authorities arrived. When Ifnanya and Oluchi arrived at Mama Tenu's small house, Chidera was called up, weak and scared. Her clothes were torn, her face pale. She had been dehydrated and frightened. Immediately Madam Ifnanya set her eyes on her daughter. She cried and said, "My baby, I failed you. Hey!" Chidera didn't speak at first, but she didn't pull away either. She let her mother hold her for the first time without anger or reprimand. She told her mother everything that happened that night in that party, the ones she could remember, especially how they took advantage of her. On hearing all this, the police moved in action. The men responsible were arrested. The three girls who had influenced her faced disciplinary action. Chidera received counseling and medical care. If Nanya, her mother, resigned from her job, she stayed home, present for her daughter, learning to listen, to cook together, to walk her to school. She learned that love required presence, not just provision. Years later, Chidera stood before young girls at a conference in Enugu and said, "My mother gave me money, but I needed love. I needed attention. I needed her." And sitting in the audience was a mother who finally understood. Some children are not rebellious, they are just unloved. Thank you for watching. This is where our story ends. But before we end it, let's look into our moral lessons. Money can provide comfort, but only love provides safety. A child's emotional needs are as important as food and shelter. Being busy is not an excuse for being absent. Children who are unheard at home will be heard elsewhere. Sometimes one concerned neighbor can change a destiny. It is never too late to change, but early love prevents lifelong scars. In conclusion, Chidera's story teaches us that silence can be louder than abuse, and absence can hurt deeper than poverty. A child who is constantly ignored will eventually listen to anyone who notices them, even if that attention is dangerous. Every child needs more than gifts and money. They need love, guidance, and attention. If you are a parent, remember your presence matters more than your presence. If you are a teenager, speak up, seek help, and never be afraid to reach out to someone who cares. Thank you once again for watching. Please share this story with your families and friends. Comment below on what you will do differently today to show love to the children around you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that more lives can be touched by stories that inspire change. God bless you all for watching. Remember, being busy is not an excuse for being absent. Love you all. Bye bye. Mwah.